Hello there, YouTubers, TikTokers, subscribers, non-subscribers, and all of you who are watching this video. Welcome to my channel. I'm your host, RoseRed17, and this video is about Miraculous, Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir, created by Thomas Astruc. Now, this is something a little different than what I normally do, and for those of you who are new to my channel, I welcome you, and here in this video, I would like to talk about my thoughts on this show. My first thought on the show is, it's a mess. The story isn't written well, the MC gets too much screen time, her partner doesn't get enough screen time, along with the other characters. Also, some of the company who allows the show on their channel likes to spoil it to death. Let's not forget the episodes airing out of order. Thanks a lot, Globe. And the villain is just awful. And I mean awful. He is just pathetic. At first, he seemed like a typical villain, but as soon as the show progresses, he isn't really that threatening. But I will talk about him later on this video, because for now, let's talk about the story. The story takes place in Paris, where two superheroes, Ladybug and Cat Noir, are fighting a supervillain named Hawkmoth. He uses these butterflies, known as akumas, to turn people into villains in order to steal the Miraculous from the Ladybug and the Black Cat. The Miraculous are magical jewels that give superpowers to those who wear them, and the source of their powers are the Kwamis, who are the little creature you have seen around the main protagonist. Ladybug is a young girl named Marinette, who has lovable parents that owns the most famous bakery shop. Her partner, Cat Noir, is a boy named Adrien, who so happens to be the famous model and the son of a famous fashion designer, Gabriel Gress, who also turned out to be the villain of the show. Wherever there is trouble as someone is akumatized by Hawkmoth, Marinette and Adrien transform into Ladybug and Cat Noir as they defeat the akumatized victim and save the day while they're struggling with their daily lives in the process. Yeah, as you can see, it's a pretty basic superhero show. Now let us talk about the characters. Let us start with Marinette, who is the show's main protagonist. She is generally a clumsy girl that everybody seems to love and adore. Her hobby is designing clothes, and her dream is becoming a fashion designer, and also during her superhero duty as Ladybug, who, like I said before, gets way too much screen time. I get that she's the main character and all, so it's understandable why she has most of the focus. But my problem with her is that she is in every single episode, even in the ones where she doesn't need to be in it, like in Guilt Trips, Party Crasher, and Gabriel Gress. In these episodes, Marinette has no reason to be there. But because she is the MC, the creators decided to put her in there for unrelatable reasons to the plot of the episode. Let's start with Guilt Trips, where we see one of the characters named Juleka crying her eyes out because she feels guilty about her friend Rose with her illness. Adrien was the one who found her in the boiling room and is willing to talk to her on his own. Marinette doesn't need to be there. In fact, she shouldn't be there because she makes things worse for Juleka. Because of what Marinette did, Juleka was forced into telling everyone else about Rose's illness. Rose didn't want her sickness to be known because...
Quick, call her parents! Hurry up! Put these on! Rapid tighten! I can't get hold of her parents! Nino, call an ambulance!
Marinette?
Alex, call the fire department!
You're not answering!
Yeah, this is why she didn't want to tell them. If I were sick and my friends freak out over a sneeze, I would have a reason not to tell them either. This makes Juleka feel more guilty and later gets akumatized into guilt trips. These incidents wouldn't have happened if Marinette hadn't texted the others about Juleka's location. I know her intentions were good and all, but she could at least ask Juleka what the problem was first before letting the others know. And that is what Adrien was planning on doing before making a rash decision. In my honest opinion, what Marinette did was a dick and selfish move. Also, this isn't the first time Marinette did selfish things. Remember the other episodes that I mentioned before? And there is also other episodes in the show where Marinette does things that causes people to get akumatized, and people say Chloe is the guilty one. Yes, she is the bully of the show and causes a lot of akumatizations, but Marinette is just as guilty, and I will talk about that later. As I was saying before, the other episodes that our hero shouldn't be in is Party Crasher. Marinette tries to get into Adrien's all-guy guy party by dressing up like one. Is this supposed to be funny? Because I'm not laughing. She managed to get into the party, but only ends up embarrassing herself. Why does she do this? To get close to Adrien. In Gabriel Agreste, she dressed up as a butler to get into another party where she is uninvited. And her goddamn friends are planning to have Marinette save Adrien from his father and try to confess her love to him for the 1000th time. But that isn't the only thing. Chloe, the school bully, has recorded video of their plan and is willing to show it to Gabriel so she can keep Adrien all to herself. This episode should be focusing on Gabriel and Adrien, not Marinette dressing up as a servant to get access to Gabriel's party. Marinette being there was completely pointless because in the end, it was all a waste. Also, this whole scene of Marinette being the knight in shining armor is pointless. Honestly, it should have been an episode on its own. In fact, a lot of the episodes don't focus on a single story plot. They just shove different ideas into one. If you have seen Cyrus the Great's videos, he explains more than I can, so I suggest you check out his videos. He even made a video of why Marinette is a terrible protagonist and a bad role model for kids. And I do mostly agree with him. And I love the fact that he calls Ladybug a hypocrite. And I believe him because I've seen her hypocrisies long before I watched his video. Like with the whole secret of their identities. She was one going on and on about keeping one's identity a secret, even from her own partner, Cat Noir, who isn't allowed to know who she is and vice versa. But after meeting the guardian of the Miraculous, Master at the beginning of season 2, she learns more about the other Kwamis and their powers, and throughout both seasons 2 and 3, she finds people to get the Miraculous to help her and Cat Noir to be in a certain villain or a situation where the two duos need extra help. That is all fine and good, but the problem is that Ladybug is the only one who's allowed to know their identities, but Cat Noir doesn't.
Hey, where are you going?
Rena's about to transform back.
So you're allowed to know her true identity, but I'm not?
Because I have to get her Miraculous back.
So what's my role then? The guy who's always left in the dark? What else are you hiding from me?
We really gotta jam. Okay, I'll talk to him about it.
Him? Who's him?
When the time is right, Cat Noir, I promise.
When the time is right? What do you mean when the time is right? You should have told him about Fu and the other Miraculous at the same time you found out yourself. Cat Noir has every right to know. It's not like he doesn't know what a Miraculous is. He's wearing one himself.
What's on your mind, Marinette?
Master Fu, Cat Noir is asking more and more questions. He's tired of being left in the dark.
How about you fucking tell him? What is the goddamn point of keeping him in the dark? He does eventually find out about Master and the other Miraculous, but even so, she still does not tell him the things that he needs to know. Like, why can't he know about the identities of the other superheroes? Wouldn't it make things easier for Ladybug after she becomes the Guardian? Taking on that kind of responsibility is too much of a burden for one person to handle, especially for a teenager. Hell, it's even hard for adults to handle this.
In time, I realized that being a superhero is a lot to handle alone.
Remember that line. Even superheroes can't handle saving the world alone, no matter how powerful you are. Ladybug should have known that since in the first season, she and Cat Noir were equally capable of defending Paris by themselves. But once Marinette meets Master things started to become unbalanced between the two. Cat Noir starts to feel more and more left out to the point where he starts to get jealous of the other heroes. Yeah, I have been defending Cat Noir since the episode of Siren, and I kinda understand what he's feeling. If you have a partner that went through a lot with you and started keeping secrets from you, I would be upset too. Case in point, let's check out the New York and Shanghai specials. Both of them have their flaws, but I thought the Shanghai was good. But I didn't like the New York special, mostly because Ladybug wouldn't stop arguing with Cat Noir while fighting a villain. And look, I get it. She has every right to be mad at him. Cat Noir was supposed to protect Paris while she was away, but he broke that vow and left Paris without telling her, which leaves it into ruins. But Adrien didn't believe he was allowed to go because his father is very controlling of his life and pretty much isolated him since childhood. I know some viewers use that in defending Adrien for his mistake, but I do think he should have told her. But what the hell is he going to say? I'm sorry, Ladybug, I can't protect Paris because my father father's letting me go to America with my friends and I can't stay because I can't say no to him. Or one of my classmates convinced my dad and letting me go. Or he will make up some excuse to get Ladybug to understand why he can't stay. But he can't tell her the truth because the truth will reveal his identity to her. And telling each other's identity is the biggest rule that they must never break until their enemy is defeated. Because if they did that, it will be the end of the world. Literally. I would have given Ladybug a pass since she was supposed to be the responsible one, but the problem is, she's just as bad as breaking those rules. She keeps going on and on about keeping one's identity a secret, but later she tells Alia, her best friend, that she is Ladybug. You know, genius, their identity is no longer a secret if you know it. And to make things worse, during the Shanghai special, she did the exact same thing as what Cat Noir did in the New York special.
Do you realize that because of you, there's no one left in Paris to protect the city?
Oh yeah, what about you? You left your duty of protecting the city of Paris and its citizens without telling Cat Noir your sudden change of plans of leaving. I know he doesn't know you left because he called you and told you his location, which is in Shanghai. And to top it all off, she lied to her parents about seeing her uncle and learning about her Chinese heritage or whatever in Shanghai just so she can be with her crush.
Ladybug, you are the best behaved kid in the whole world.
Bullshit!
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Does Marinette not realize how much this makes her a hypocrite? Besides domestic abusers or serial killers or murderers, hypocrites are one of the worst types of people, in my opinion. They lecture others about doing things that they're not supposed to do, and yet they end up doing it themselves. I mean, what the gives them the rights? The answer to that question is none. They have no rights. They have no rights to lecture others about doing certain things when they end up doing those certain things themselves. I'm supposed to be rooting for this character, liking her, supporting her, but how am I gonna do that if I can't stand her? In fact, most of the time, I wish she wasn't the main character. She just drives me nuts. And when season 4 came around, she took on more responsibility after becoming the Guardian, which is a good improvement to her character. But my problem with Marinette being the Guardian is that she tries to take control of everything, even with Alia's help, who is the person who knows her identity. Ladybug does most of the work in this season, and the creator made Cat Noir almost useless. The show should have more focus on him. And speaking of him, let's talk about Adrien Regress. Now, a lot of people say that Adrien should have been the main character of the show. Why? Because he has more connections to the plot and story than Marinette does. For example, his father, who is the bad guy, is the cause of everything that is happening. The reason why Marinette and Adrien were chosen to be the holders of the Ladybug and the Black Cat is to fight Hawkmoth, who wants their Miraculous. Why does he want them? To bring back his dead wife, who is Adrien's mother. Throughout the entire show, we knew nothing about this woman. At least not yet, I think. But right now, let's talk about Adrien, who is the son of the famous fashion designer Gabriel Gress. Adrien is the model for most of his father's work. He has been homeschooled and isolated from society due to his father's emotional abuse and controlling his life. But then one day he snuck out to attend a normal school to become a normal boy and make new friends because the only friend he's ever had was Chloe, the school bully. Which also makes him look bad since nobody wanted to talk to him on his first day of school because he was friends with Chloe. Talk about harsh. Even Marinette wanted nothing to do with him until we get to the part 2 of the origin story with the umbrella scene. That's what started Marinette's stalking obsession with Adrien. Okay, the real reason is in season 5 in the flashback episode, but you get my point. But also, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but Adrien / Cat Noir is my favorite character of the show, and I will protect this boy like he is my own child, no matter what. However, I didn't do much protecting of him in season 4 because, oh my god, I hated him in that season. Or should I say the writers made me hate him because they made him such a selfish jerk and a moron. Although I still feel sorry for him because Ladybug was still keeping him in the dark and felt untrustworthy since she became the Guardian for a good half of the season, and I started to see his frustration. But it wasn't until I got to the episode Senti Bubbler, Hakusan, and Kuroneko. With Senti Bubbler, he gets so jealous and angry towards Rena Rouge and Ladybug for keeping him out of the mission and ends up breaking the wall and might even be a jerk there too. In Hakusan, he meets Scarabella for the first time and he thinks of her as an imposter. Okay, this part I get. He thought she was a Kumanai's victim or a Senti monster, but he almost killed Scarabella without giving her a chance to explain herself, which she does after she beats the crap out of him. But even after she proves that she's one of the good guys, he still gives her a hard time, and it wasn't until the end of the episode that he finally gives her some respect and support. Then the last episode I want to talk about is Kuroneko. Now in this one, he's only being selfish at the beginning of the episode, but later on he does learn his lesson. But here, he gets so angry and jealous of the other superheroes helping Ladybug that he doesn't even get his ass off the couch to join them in saving the people of Paris. I personally think this is Adrien at his worst in this season, but I also think it's his best, because the best part of the episode is that he recognized that Ladybug is struggling and is willing to support her like he should have the entire time. But what makes it his worst is that his selfishness gets the better of him and renounces his Miraculous, and Ladybug takes the blame for it. This might be the first time I'm defending Ladybug, which is something I rarely do, because in this episode, Ladybug did nothing wrong, and yet Flag is yelling at her for Cat Noir giving up his Miraculous and calling all the other superheroes without him. Well, yeah, of course she calls upon the other heroes, but that is only when Cat Noir is not available. Like in the 100th episode Ephemeral, the reason he couldn't transform into Cat Noir and help Ladybug is that he was forced into doing a press conference by his father. This is something he can't get out of. He can't leave. However, watch his expression after he sees the miraculous Ladybugs. Look at that smile on his face. He is happy she got the job done with or without his help. There is another episode, Origami. He was trapped in the elevator with Marinette and couldn't do anything until Rena Rouge got him out with the help of the horse Miraculous. And by the time he transformed to help out, it was already too late. The others have already taken down the villains without him, but he doesn't seem to have a problem with it here. Yes, he may seem upset at first, but then put on a smile for their victories. There are other episodes in the past seasons where he almost couldn't transform into Cat Noir to help Ladybug because of logical and understandable reasons. So yeah, you can't blame him for those. But here in episode Kuroneko, there is no understandable reason as to why he can't help Ladybug to save innocent lives. She has no other choice but to call on the other heroes because her partner is sitting on his ass sulking, and yet she's the one who has to take the blame? I have to be honest, Season 4 has got to be my least favorite because of how Cat Noir was written, but luckily he started to come around at the end of the season, when he saw Ladybug crying after losing all the other Miraculous because of Felix. Cat Noir comforts her along with the people of Paris, and this is the Cat Noir I know and love. I have watched Season 5, and he has become more serious. Not only that, but he's finally, and I mean finally, gotten over his love obsession over Ladybug, and sees her no more than a friend, and focuses his heart on somebody else. But
Marinette. Marinette.
yeah, that's creepy, but Marinette is, and was, a lot creepier than him. Overall, Adrien is still my favorite character, even though he was a complete asshole in the Season 4. But I'm willing to give my boy a second chance within Season 5, which in my opinion isn't too bad, but they could have done better in the first 2 episodes. Now I want to discuss my idea about the other characters, which is really not saying much because there's really not much to say about these other characters. I know side characters don't get a lot of screen time and dialogue as the MC, but these are not side characters. These are Marinette's classmates who gets to become superheroes not because they're worthy of it, but because Ladybug just gives out these powerful magic jewels to anyone she favors, including Zoe, somebody she barely knows. She ends up becoming the holder of the Bee Miraculous after Chloe gets retconned from her redemption arc. Yes, even the school bully gets to become a hero for a while, but no longer is because the creator doesn't like her. And no, I'm not making this up. It says those on the Twitter that he doesn't like Chloe. I get that she's the bully of the show, but if she's so bad that the person who created her doesn't like her, then she must be more worthy of being the true villain than fuck Moth. But here's the problem. Chloe is not as bad as people claim her to be. After discovering the reason why she treats others so coldly, it's because of the way she was raised. She has a father who spoils her to death, and a bitch of a mother who doesn't even pay attention to her throughout most of her life. The only friend that she's ever had was Adrien, who had a difficult childhood, and I can sympathize with both of them. We see that Chloe can change for the better in Season 2, but at the end of Season 3, she ends up helping fuck Moth and made her a bully again. What the fuck Thomas Ashtrack, you made me hate this character, then like her, and then hate her again. Like, dude, you had a good redemption arc for this character. You gave her a chance to change, become a better person. But no, according to you, bad people always be bad. Dude, that only happens to people that grew up in an unfair and harsh environment. People that don't give a shit about others, and people who are raised to be power-hungry maniacs. But what about Chloe? Why does she bully her classmates? Because she was raised as a spoiled rich brat who doesn't know better. But then we see that she can change in season 2. She slowly starts to understand that not everything is about her, and it should have continued from there. The creator of the show should have put his selfishness and hatred towards this character aside and let her learn and grow. But instead of making Chloe nicer, she is replaced by Zoe, aka the nicer version of Chloe. And I gotta be honest, I don't care about Zoe. I mean, this girl just came out of nowhere and instantly became close friends with the MC and ends up in the group within her first episode, all because they all pitied her for being around Chloe. Zoe even pretends to hate Marinette after she was so kind enough to give her free bed and her phone number to invite her to her group of friends, and Marinette doesn't even get mad at her after learning the truth about her. But when she first met Adrien, she didn't like him and gave him the cold shoulder, and not only because she discovered his connection to Chloe, but she believes that Adrien is much of a bully as Chloe due to the whole chewing gum incident. How the did this girl get a free pass for not facing the anger side of Marinette when Adrien did, and he did nothing wrong to her? She quickly judged him because of his connection to Chloe. But this girl, who is actually related to Chloe, said mean and terrible things to Marinette even though she didn't mean to. But she still said it to impress Chloe. Why? Because Chloe threatened Zoe to do so. We the viewers know about this because it was told to us, but Marinette doesn't. She believes that Zoe is being manipulated by Chloe to do those terrible things, which she is not wrong. But after meeting her for the first time, doesn't raise any questions? Like, what is her connection to Chloe? And why was Zoe being nice to her in the bakery, but the next time they met, Zoe shot her down? Honestly, the writer should have done more with Zoe than just making her the nice version of Chloe. In fact, they didn't do much with this character, besides making her a Mary Sue and becoming the new holder of the Be Miraculous to replace Chloe. But that's literally all she is. A replacement. And this is the reason why I don't care for Zoe, because she is a boring plot device that helps the story move forward. Although she is a good person and I wouldn't mind hanging out with her in real life, but as a character I could care less than the MC of this goddamn show. The only thing I do like about Chloe is her appearance and her fashion sense, but that's not enough for me to be interested. In other words, it's not enough to save her. Although she does get a little more character growth in the 5th season before and after she becomes Kitty Noir, but that's not saying much. She's still a Mary Sue. Oh yeah, I recently just found out that she has a crush on Marinette. And yeah, that came out of nowhere and I really can't explain that one. All I know is that during her confession, Zoe fell in love with Marinette on the first day they met. Well, that makes it more confusing. But you know what? I'm just gonna leave it at that and go with it, because this is more confusing than the timeline of the show. Speaking of timeline, during the 5 seasons, the 2 heroes were fighting the villains for only 9 months. 9 months! Yeah, a year hasn't even gone by since the origin story in the beginning of the school year, and a lot of shit has already happened. Also, weren't there like a ton of holidays like Valentine's Day, birthdays, and that special day that Marinette's family celebrate every year? And when did Christmas happen in this timeline? Didn't they also go on a class trip to New York? And didn't Marinette go to Shanghai during a summer break? Seriously, which month of the year did this happen before Christmas and after the New York trip? But that's not possible. We know Marinette has become the Guardian during this time, but not during the Christmas special. I'm getting a migraine thinking about this. Okay, let's just move on to part 2 of this video. Well then everyone, thank you for watching, and if you are new here to this channel, you can please subscribe if you like to. You can also hit that notification button for new updates on my newest videos. Don't forget to check me out on X, TikTok, and Discord, and I will see you all in the next video. RoseRed17 out.